The harmonic major scale. What is it exactly? What kind of harmony or chords can be derived from the scale, and how do we use it effectively? This scale can be thought of as a major scale with a lowered 6th degree. We'll use A major as a reference. If you lower the F sharp to F natural, we have A harmonic major. It has a nice exotic flair compared to the traditional major scale. If we're using tertian harmony, that is chords stacked in intervals of a third, typical in Western harmony, then the chords yielded by the scale are as follows. The 1 chord is an A major triad, or A major 7 if you're writing 7th chords. The 2 chord is a B diminished triad, or B minor 7 flat 5. The 3 chord is C sharp minor triad, or C sharp minor 7th. The 4 chord is D minor triad, or D minor major 7th. That's your 007 sound right there. The 5 chord is E major triad, or E dominant 7. The presence of a dominant 5 chord means that you can write tonal progressions. That is a progression of the dominant 5 chord to a tonic 1 chord. You can also write modal progressions if you want to, which focus more on subdominant to tonic motion, but you have the option for both here without having to leave the key or to borrow chords from other places. Not that there's anything wrong with borrowing chords, of course, I just wanted to point that out. The flat 6 chord is an F augmented triad, or F major 7 sharp 5. The 7th chord is G sharp diminished triad, or G sharp diminished 7th. I've labeled the F natural as the character note of the mode. It's kind of what defines the harmonic major sound. In other words, if you play these notes, whether it's in the chords, the melody, or both, and you never play F, then it will just sound like a major scale. And on the other side of that coin, if you play the F natural somewhere in there, but you never play C sharp, then the major quality of this mode is left undefined. Let's hear that same music again, but this time there'll be a C sharp replacing the note D in the ostinato and the melody. So you need C sharp to make it sound major, and F to define harmonic major. Whether you express those notes harmonically, meaning in the chords, or melodically, or both, is up to you. Quick side note, if any of these concepts confuse you, or if you're struggling with any musical concept in general, you can always book a 30-minute lesson with me by simply emailing me at JGiunta@JGiuntaMusic.com to set one up. Now, to hear the sound of any musical scale, mode, or musical concept in action, I always like to look to the masters, in this case Edvard Grieg. In the pure Gynt Suite No. 1, he starts out with the main theme of the song in E major and modulates to G sharp harmonic major, and he even uses the augmented chord on the flat 6th degree. It's a really nice sound. I have a whole episode about this piece, so be sure to check that out if you want a breakdown of that section of the song. But if you just listen to it, you'll hear 2 repeats of the main theme in E major, and then a variation of that theme in G sharp harmonic major. Let's take a listen. This is a great way to use this sound. Write something in a major key and then modulate to harmonic major for an exotic variation, and then modulate back to major or somewhere else entirely. While you certainly could write an entire song in harmonic major, music can quickly get stale if you rely on the same 7 notes for an entire piece. But these decisions, like everything else, are entirely up to you. It's really just a question of what sound are you looking for in a given moment or section of the song. Now we're going to take a look at how to use the harmony derived from the scale effectively, and I want to illustrate a point that I think is really important. If you're writing an A harmonic major and you use the triad of the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord, you'll get a sound that sounds like this. On paper, this would seem to be in A harmonic major. It uses the 1 chord, the 4 chord, the 5 chords of the key, and both the C sharp and the F natural are present in the chord changes. However, because the borrowing of a minor 4 chord from a parallel mode is such a common sound, this could easily be heard as a borrowed chord in A major. At least it might without more context. Sure, you could argue that it's in A harmonic major, but the point is, it's debatable. If you really want that exotic flair of the harmonic major scale to come through, we can solve this problem in a few ways. First, we can write a melody over the chord changes to express the color of the mode using the F natural over the 1 chord and or the 5 chords, proving to our ears that the F isn't just part of some borrowed 4 chord. When doing this, you want to treat that F natural like you would a chromatic note. Keep the duration short and have it resolve to a chord tone so it doesn't clash with the E natural of the chords. The other option we have is to use harmony that's just a little bit more indicative of that harmonic major sound, such as the minor major 7th chord on the 4th degree and the major 7th sharp 5 chord on the flat 6th degree. Let's hear what it sounds like now. As the composer, you have a lot of choices. You could easily just vamp on a 1 chord for a while and express the mode melodically. And there's also the option of an ostinato, a layered ostinato, to create a harmonic texture that you then write melody over top of or underneath of. And in the ostinato, again, you can choose whether you're using the C sharp, the F natural, or making it somewhat ambiguous by leaving those notes out. Maybe you just play A, D, and E in the ostinato, and then you clarify the actual mode in the other parts of the music, such as the melody. For an in-depth lesson on ostinatos, which are really cool, check out my full episode on ostinatos. I like to explore one more really fun thing that you can play around with. For those of you like myself, curious about what the other modes of harmonic major are, here they are. The mode built off of the 2nd degree would be B Locrian natural 2, natural 6. The 3rd mode would be C sharp Phrygian flat 4. That's a weird one. I guess you could call it Mixolydian flat 9, sharp 9, flat 13, which kind of makes more sense to me. The 4th mode would be D melodic minor sharp 4. The 5th mode would be E Mixolydian flat 2. The mode built off of the flat 6th degree would be F Lydian augmented sharp 2. Yeah. And the final mode built off of the 7th degree would be G sharp Locrian double flat 7. So fun. If you don't know how to write music in these modes, the general concept is actually fairly straightforward. For example, if you wanted to write music in the F Lydian augmented sharp 2 mode, you would simply have to write music in such a way that the harmonic and melodic ideas drive your ear towards hearing F as the key center instead of hearing A as the key center. If you want to write in E Mixolydian flat 2, then E would need to be heard as the key center. If you're unsure of how to do that, I'm not going to get too into it in this video because I have so many videos on modes, it's ridiculous. If you haven't watched any of them, what are you even doing with your life? Anyway, check out any or all of my videos on modes and you'll easily be able to compose modal music in whichever mode you desire. But for a quick example of one of the many ways to compose music in bizarre modes like the F Lydian augmented sharp 2 mode, you could try something really simple. Start out with the note you want to be heard as the root or tonic as a pedal tone down in the bass, or a repeated rhythmic idea also in the bass. If you just keep playing this over and over and over again, it will sort of force your ears to hear it as home. You can now play some chords over top of it, or you can write a melody using this interesting mode. And everything else feels grounded in F because of the repetition of this bass note. And it can be as simple as that. It doesn't always have to be complicated. That's going to do it for today. If you have any questions or you want to share any additional information for everyone on this topic, feel free to post down below in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you next time.